everybody. It's time for Mustache You A Question, in which I'm the one person without a mustache, but I do have someone coming with one. No, it's not Kermit. It's not Kermit. He doesn't have a mustache, although he'd like to have one. He would look cool with a mustache, right? Welcome, Joey Galvez.
How's it going?
Hello.
Long time no see.
I feel like we just talked to each other like half an hour ago.
I know, right?
No, we're just so everybody knows, I'm a big fan of Joey's. Joey hangs out on my shows, and so we're all part of the same comic community. So
yeah, I feel like I've been hanging out with you guys a lot more lately, so which is cool because it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, you can see how much we talk about Scout, and even when we're not talking with Scout proper, we still are such big fans. We're talking about them all the time on CBSN, right. The Experience, anywhere we're broadcasting, Scout all the time.
Right. And we got someone gives us a medal for Rob owns.
Rob was also on the show just half an hour ago.
Awesome. What show does he do?
Oh, he came on to my walk around show.
Oh, okay, cool. He's just shopping, huh? So talk to us a little bit about that, because I was watching the show and I didn't know you have a cool little pizza shop in there. That's awesome.
We used to do a lot more of what we call a walk around show. When we were in hard COVID shutdown, we started doing that every single day. We'd have 2 hours that we would turn on the camera and let people feel like they were in the comic book shop, even though it was forbidden to be in there. And we were only in there because we were also a warehouse. Otherwise, we would have been forbidden to go to work too. So we were like trying desperately to give people a touch of normalcy. And so once we could have live customers in, and we had so many more shows added, because that was about the time when we started adding experience shows to our CBSN lineup. Then our just live walk around shows kind of started dwindling down just for time constraints. But I held on very tightly to this Wednesday morning walk around, which I had because we have the Tuesday night new comic book show on CBSN. And we started doing that because we had so many people that on Wednesday could not come and line up at the door because they had to go to work. And then we realized there might be people that are working on Tuesday night didn't get to see new books. So we added Wednesday morning. So it was just like you were waiting outside the store and got to be the first ones in. And get to do a walk around. And then it also allows people that are either nearby or far away to see what the store looks like, instead of just have me sitting in front of books that I show, that I can actually show them. You know, they get to see our staff and our employees and what the layout is, and they can really see where our focus is, as they can see our giant, Scout section and Source Point Press section and Aftershock section. They can see they were very much an independent focused business. And so they get to know us a little bit better as a.
I love that whole concept of kind of giving us like a backstage pass to the shop. And it does feel that's one of those reasons why I kind of found myself watching you do the walk arounds on Wednesday mornings, because I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It gives me like my comic book fix in the morning, where like maybe I can't get out to the comic shop that day, but I feel like I am inside the comic shop. And I found myself getting a little excited looking at some of the stuff along with you today. So that's so cool. I love that we need more of that.
Oh, yeah. And it's also, I do want to say, like, it's cool that people like my shop and my walk around, but do like broaden your horizons, like go and check out and see if there's other shops that have walk arounds, or if other shops have got shows, or just try out other shops. Because I mean, when I was growing up in comic books in the 90s, you had your home comic shop and that's where your pull was. But you did go to every other comic book shop in town just to wander through and see what they had and talk with them. And no one ever saw that as like, oh, you have cheated. It was just everyone did, because they were looking for looking through the dollar bins and seeing what was there. So do that, because even if don't feel like you're cheating on your home shop by going and experiencing other shops, because come on now, we're a community. We're not like some kind of like me versus you thing going on.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that a lot. Another thing that's really, really cool is that that every time that you go live, it's like there's a brand new section of your shop that I haven't seen, and I've been watching it for months and months now, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I didn't know you had a pizza shop in there, and I've been talking to you for quite some time now.
Oh yeah.
So
So that's a little bit out of necessity. So that's a family-owned place that sublets from us because the city that we're in is a
mhm.
really nice bedroom community of Houston proper. It's very like middle class, blue collar. Love this community so much, but there are not very many places to eat here. It's just a little
Oh, really?
skinny city along the highway, along
Mhm.
I-45, and there's not much here. So the community is always super
Mhm.
excited if there's a new restaurant that can come in.
That's
And
cool.
we had the space, and I'm good friends with a fellow who owns lots of businesses, including toy
Mhm.
distributorships, and that's how I knew him. But he also owns like 5 restaurant chains or something, and he was looking for a home for this one. And
Mhm.
I met the family that was going to be the other owners, and I adore them. Make such good food, and it makes it so that the people discover us that would
Yeah.
not be comic book people because they're coming in for pie.
Yeah.
They're food people, and then conversely, we have people come in all the time that are coming for comic books and didn't know there was food there, and they're like,
Yeah.
"I'll grab a pizza for the house." So
And
pretty
that's
cool.
the cool thing. I love the fact that you guys are creating an environment um where it's inviting for the whole family. And that's the thing. It's like I told my wife the other day, I was like, I would love to like take a trip out there, and because it's like one of those things, you go to Jen's shop and you don't leave for anything because it's like a one-stop shop for the whole family, and I love it.
Yeah, I really did try to create a place that I would have wanted to have when I was
Mhm.
a young person, that
Yeah.
I could go in and sit on the floor and count my jar of pennies 50,000 times to figure out how much I had, to see what I could buy and make piles of things and then unpile things and eventually go to the register with stuff and pay with my pile of change and not have anyone be mad at me.
I know, right?
So that's what I created.
the wonders of the wonders of the old school days, man. where kids can just run around town and you just knew that they were okay,
Yeah.
and there's wholesome fun going on. The way I discovered what comics books was going into my local ice cream shop. They had,
Oh,
they had a magazine section, but the last two rows were comics, and they had one spinner rack, and I bought my first comic straight from the spinner rack, and it was in the 90s, and this had been it's in the late 90s, but the book had come out way before then. It was like in the 91, 92, somewhere, I forget when it, but it's the X-Men cover, the I should just pull it down. I got it up there.
is it
Should I
X-Men #1, the Jim Lee?
Yeah, then should I just get it?
Yeah,
Because
get it. I
I
want to see
got it
it.
framed and everything. I've got all of them connected because it's such a huge thing for me, such a
Mhm.
big nostalgia thing for me. It's not. I mean, they're probably worth what, like 5, $10 maybe. They probably went up in price,
That's right.
unless you get the Mexico covers, which are those ones are really. I want those ones so bad. But let me grab it.
It's
It's
show and tell.
yeah, show and tell. So
Oh, you have them actually framed all together. How
yeah,
brilliant.
so all the connecting covers. So let me see. So I got them all, and then I've even got the double there of these two
There
here.
you go.
But one of them is the pull out, and one is just the regular cover. But yeah, so the first one that I ever got was this one here. It was not the pull
Mhm.
out. It was not the pull out poster cover one. Um, but that was the first book that I had ever gotten myself, and so I got that right off the spinner rack, and ever since then, that's when my comic book you know collecting just popped off. So
Mhm.
but yeah, and then I recently but the thing is, I really wish that I would have kept that. I don't know where all those comic books went from my childhood, just like anything else. But I recently found those ones, and these I got really lucky because I found all of these for like near mint and near mint plus. Like I'm like, nice.
Yeah, I think that a lot of mamas don't recognize things like that as being something that later on in life you'll want to go back and touch
Mhm.
on. So whenever my kids want to get rid of stuff, because they know that I can sell it for them and get them some money to buy whatever else is their next
Yeah.
thing. I always ask them, "Are you really sure?" Because my son right now
Mhm.
is cleaning out his room and painting it himself. So he's 18, so he's taking
Fun.
control of his space, which I love.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome.
he gave me all of his like Lego sets and his like he spent all his money on getting this like the Mace of Azog, like the real sized one.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I came downstairs and it's all sitting by the front door. He's like, "Mama, sell these for me." And I just like, "Are you sure, man, that you're not going to later on in
man,
life be like, why did I get rid of my mace? Now I
right?
have to pay $1,000 for that daggum thing." I'm sure it'll do that.
That's funny. Yeah, I really wish that I would have kept that stuff, but like I said, I don't know where it went. So many things in my life that I've had, like okay, so how about this? And I want to ask you, since this show is called "I Must Ask You a Question,"
Yeah.
um, I got a question for you. What was that one item that you had, that you probably don't have now that you wish you still had?
Um, it's something I sold fairly recently, about 5 years ago. I think it's 5 years ago now when they announced the Preacher movies.
Oh yeah.
Um, I I I had a bunch of Preacher pages that were like key Preacher pages to me,
Mhm,
where things happened that I thought were beats in the books themselves.
mhm.
And the thing that was special about them is that I got them during shows, mostly C2E2, when Mike Turner was there. And we used to compete over those pages in a very friendly way. So I would pick him up and he'd come wandering in the booth and be like, "What did you have there, Jen?" I'd be like, "Dad gummit." And so to me, it wasn't only about the pages, it's about the
Mhm.
interaction with him,
Yeah.
which is weird because in the 90s, we knew each other. And then I spent some time out of the industry only doing online,
Mhm.
uh, and then came back and I was not privy to the information that he had passed. So when I found
Yeah.
that out, it was like 10 years after it had happened and I was crushed.
Yeah.
I was like crushed. So long story short, I took two of those pages when the show was really hot and gave them to Heritage to sell for me when other pages had made decent amount of money, and my pages did okay.
Mhm.
I wasn't mad at the amount of money that they brought, but in retrospect, I would
Mhm.
have rather had the pages
Mhm.
than the money.
Same here. So, talking about some original artwork pages. There was I, like Jen, I love to be in the mix and I love to be plugged into the comic book industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I would work our local con. And our con, it used to be called the Phoenix Comic Con before that whole mess with the San Diego Comic Con thing. They had to change their name. And actually the whole reason why everybody needed to change their name, I guess, was because of Phoenix Comic Con. Anyway, and San Diego.
Really, I thought it was because of the stink with Salt Lake.
So it was the it was part of that, but the whole thing was that I guess one of the guys, the showrunner for Phoenix Con, actually went and I guess he went and testified in that court proceeding, and I guess he was part of the whole lawsuit or something like that. So
Okay.
he was one of the people that had to change their names too because they were named as one of the other cons that used Comic Con. So, yeah, crazy stuff, right? It was Salt Lake, San Diego, and Phoenix all duking it out. In San Diego won. So, but anyway, so they changed their name to eventually they went through a handful of small names, but it landed on Phoenix Fan Fusion. So now, um, this was maybe in 2019, 2018, 2019, somewhere. I think it was 2018. That I was working the con, and I was working as talent relations, kind of doing the same kind of thing that I do here,
Mhm.
working with creators and talking with them and making sure they get to their panels on time and all that good stuff, right? I got really good in with Jonathan Glapion. I don't know who you if you know who he is. He is the inker for all of Capullo and Snyder's, Batman stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
Uh, so so um so here comes the end of the con, and he and his wife were like so thankful for me because there was times where she needed to go change the baby and things, she had to go run, and he was at a panel. So I sat around and took care of them and made sure that they were good to go, and brought them food and water and stuff like that. So at the end of the con, he ended up giving me literally a page from Batman, Court of Owls. One of
Oh,
the it was the scene where the Court of Owls break into the Batcave, and Batman, it's like page 9 of that book, I think it was. And I got rid of it for some logo work, and I'm kicking myself because now looking at back at that, I got it directly from him, and
mhm.
that page now is worth $1,500, and I got rid of it for like $500 worth of work. I'm so mad at myself and kicking myself for that. But and the money doesn't matter. It's just
Yep.
the fact that I have this story to go with it, and now I can't look at it on my wall. So, but I do have an original piece from him that he did. It's a Batman. I should grab that too. It's show and tell day.
Yes.
So this here is another original piece that I got the same time that he did that. He gave this to me, and that's got his stuff, and there's his signature at the bottom there for and all that good stuff. But yeah, this is really cool.
Wow.
He gave me tons of stuff. Like this right here is one of my favorite pieces that he gave me. A Swamp
That's
Thing.
amazing.
And he's even got it numbered. This is number 5 of 25, and he gave me two of these, and then I have a couple other Batman ones that he did that are like in 4 or 5 different colors, but they ended up giving me tons of stuff, just dropping them on me I was literally just doing my job.
Yeah, the things I own that I probably will never sell, and if I do, I'll have regrets the rest of my life, is I own, I think, 3 of the 5 covers to the 4 Kids Walk Into the Bank.
Oh wow. Yeah. There's always those books that you're like, no, I'm gonna keep it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was actually looking at some of my stuff. I was like, I could probably sell this and get some good money, and be like, but then oh, I've only got 1 copy. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So what else you got, Jen? What's been going on at the shop?
It's really interesting. I've always had a shop that doesn't deal in high-end comics just because,
Mhm.
like, my quote is, I try not to have items that, because since I'm a family-friendly shop, I try not to carry items that if someone were to spend the money to buy it, it wouldn't break up a family.
Yeah.
So,
Understandable.
but I have ended up with a few higher dollar books recently, just kind of weirdly. And I had a fellow come in yesterday and buy one, and it feels so weird to me
Mhm.
to be the person that's on the receiving end of someone buying something expensive. I almost feel guilty about it, even though
Mhm.
I didn't make a bajillion dollars on it. It's not like I'm like, I bought it for $2 and sold it for $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just and I know that it's the right choice for him because he's a person that has the money to buy it. He's
Mhm.
investing in it. It was a great copy, and it's the right book, right? So
Yeah.
I still am at battle within myself for selling high end collectibles. I'd
Mhm.
rather my druthers is to sell like $1 million books. That takes
So
time.
so have you ever done the whole thing like like a bartender does, and like, no, you're gonna have to get cut off, like, somebody's situation, you're like, that they probably shouldn't be doing that. You're
I,
like,
I had it
don't buy that
happen
today.
during the show last night that a guy who had told me he needed to be cut off, right? So he says, I can't buy the books that I've claimed. Don't let me claim any more books. Who's been coming on under his wife's name,
Oh
who I
no.
did not know he was coming in under his wife's name. I knew it was his wife, but I didn't know it was he was doing it. I just thought she was collecting. And he's been so good. He's been really great about doing his budget and all that stuff. I'm really happy that he's found a good, right amount of money to spend.
Mhm.
And in the middle of the show, he claimed a higher dollar book, which I was like, I didn't want to like say anything live because that's kind of like, I don't want to do that to somebody because they're men and they can do what they want with their money. But but it was just so funny because he claimed it, and then I paused for a second, I put it in his thing, and then like 1 minute later, you see the call from his wife saying, "My wife says to put it back." So she's watching him, which is so cute. So cute.
My wife doesn't listen. That happens more times than you think.
Yeah, she's like, I support your right to buy responsibly, but nope, you can't buy that book.
I do the same thing. Like there was times where my wife's she's like, "Are you watching another one?" And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Don't buy anything. We don't have money. Don't do it." Like you're like, "Oh man, then why am I watching?"
Because it's entertainment, right? That's
what
what I
if
tell
something
people.
comes up that I want?
I tell people all the time. I was like, you have to know yourself, because I mean, the network doesn't do auctions, right? People should know whether they should ever walk into an auction or not. There are people that should never go because they have addictive personalities and they can't say no to a deal, right? So you just gotta know, don't go to those things. And then you have to know yourself for live sales. You have to know, do you have the ability to say, my budget's spent, and even though it's an amazing deal, I can watch the show and enjoy the show and interact with people and not be able to not call. You just have to know that about yourself. And if you know that you can't do it, you have to just step away. It's a hard thing to admit, but you don't go into a gambling facility if you know that you have a gambling addiction.
Yeah, right. It's hard. It's hard, Jen. When you know that you don't have the means, but you're just like, I want these things so bad. There was a time in my life where my pull list literally was hitting like $200 to $400 a month.
Yeah.
Like that was just my pull list. And it was awesome because but the thing was I was literally working 3 jobs. One of the jobs was paying for my comic book collecting. I don't want to say addiction, but because you know I guess this is not comic books anonymous. We don't want to stop you from buying. We want you to buy. No, just kidding.
So the difference is, right, if you worked 3 jobs and one of them was so you could buy the comic books you wanted to, that's responsible because it's not money that you need to do other things like rent or food. It's only bad when you're spending money that should be for those other things. And you cross the line into diaper money, then you have to look at yourself and say, maybe I need to take a step away for a little while.
I haven't bought a comic book and I'm gonna probably out myself here. I have not bought a comic book in such a long time because of that reason, though, is because if I'm gonna buy a comic book, then that means my baby is probably not gonna have some diapers that like how many diapers am I gonna take away from him for each comic book that I buy? And it stinks, but I made the decision to have a baby, and that's my responsibility, right? I want to do other things with that money, but then I probably shouldn't have had a kid, right?
Well, I mean, here's the deal, right? It's just the same thing I tell to people when they come in with that ashen look on their face. They have to sell me their collection because they need money for something, right? I'm like, hey, I want you to understand this. It's going to feel crap right now. This is a crap situation, and I'm happy to be able to help you with this. But just know that these books they aren't the only ones in the universe, and they don't then become unattainable. Remember the joy you had collecting these the first time. You get to have that joy again. It's just going to be later. And it's the same thing with this. You're never going to have the joy that you have with your child at this age again. But you can get those comics anytime in the future. No big.
That's absolutely true. Look at the book that I had when I the first comic book that I ever picked up, and then I found it in my adult life. And not only was I able to obtain the first like the original one that I got, well, not the original, but the one that I bought and more. and every
Mhm.
single issue of that run or that cover, the connected covers. And because I was responsible enough to have, hey, I'm gonna have an extra job. I can buy this stuff.
Mhm.
So you're absolutely right, and what a great note to leave everybody on, right? I think we had a wholesome show today.
That's what happens when you get to your 50s and you're like, "Going, I think I can speak with wisdom now. I've had life experience."
There you go. There you go. Do you have a last question for me before we head out?
Sure. Was there anything that you owned other than your comic books growing up that, like a toy or anything, that is lost to the sands of time, but you wish you still had?
So I'm a kid from the 90s, right? I was a little kid in the 90s, born in the 80s. So with the 90s was the Needles. And
Mhm.
the one toy that I remember having that I still wish I had today, because they have remade them and redone them and all that stuff, was like the Playmates ones, and the ones that had the flipped heads. You know, when you open up you would press a
Yeah,
button and their
yeah.
heads would flip out and they would have the
Mhm.
mask, or they would have the mask off. And I still wish I had those, because I've seen recently that they've like redone them, but they don't look the same.
Mm-mm.
And they're a lot bigger. I wish I had some of those old school Playmates Ninja Turtle toys.
Those were There's a lot of turtle collectibles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you like chose to just collect turtles if you could get them all.
In the 90s I did, because of that, though. They were huge. That was the biggest thing in my childhood. It was Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Spider-Man, and
Mhm.
then later on it was Power Rangers. But I
Oh, yeah.
wasn't taking to that stuff. I was a little bit older, but my little brothers watch the Power Rangers type of stuff. But Ninja Turtles all
Mhm.
day long. That one never. I don't regret watching that thing. I love Ninja Turtles. My kids love them. So it's one of those things that I can uh continue on through the ages with my children.
Oh, absolutely.
So awesome. Let everybody know where they can find you. When your next shows is, because you're going to be streaming all night, aren't you?
Tonight, I'm actually this is my last live for today, which is crazy. I know it's
Wow.
before noon most places.
Wow. You get a
Today's
break.
my invoicing day. Yeah, but then I have one of my favorite shows tomorrow night, which is What's in the Box,
Nice.
which I hope I get some cool mystery boxes in of
Yeah.
randomness because I
What
do
time is
like
that?
opening them randomly on. It'd be like, oh no, now I have to come up with a price.
What time are you going to be doing that?
That show is earlier than my other shows. It's a 5 to 7 Central, and that's an experience show.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And usually myself and my partner Ambrosia go live on Wednesdays, but today
Mhm.
she has a family thing, so she's celebrating a birthday today. So we moved our show tomorrow, so we will be going live tomorrow.
What
Same
time?
time.
What show will you be on?
What's that?
What time is that tomorrow?
That is 9 p.m. EST. So we are I believe 7 p.m. Central, right? Is
Just
that
there's
correct?
just an hour different.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be going on 9 p.m. EST. So
Okay, so
super
8
cool.
p.m. Central.
And we got tons of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of geek culture news, a lot of stuff. Ambrosia's going to be bringing her comic book pull list. I'm going to be talking about all the stuff that dropped from Scout Comics. We didn't rebrand ourselves, but we changed our branding colors. So
What?
everybody, yeah, and we updated a lot of our segment videos and stuff like that. So if you guys want to check it out, you guys are definitely going to want to do that. And Miss Jen has allowed us to be on the experience. So now we are an experience show. We promise you guys we will stay on Wednesdays. This is just a fluke. It's not, it's just somebody's birthday, and we're a family first show. So we make sure that this show does not cause a problem. Just like you said, you like to make sure that everybody's family is all. We are a family first show, and if this show interrupts somebody's family, then we're not going to do it. So So
Love that.
and Jen, appreciate you allowing me to hang out with you and do this stuff.
Of course.
Hopefully, James isn't traveling anymore. He's a busy guy. It's
Yeah.
a really he's in financial in the financial industry, and like everybody's like businesses are getting all their fiscal year stuff finished up. So he's a busy guy right now. So
Yeah, and when he's not doing that, he's doing stuff for Scout. Big things happening in behind the scenes for those guys. So
yeah, they just came back from LA Con. Super huge stuff going on over there. Super cool. Thanks a lot, Jen.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for watching.
We'll see you guys. Bye.